4032353. Kwenye account weka kodi ya bidhaa unayotaka na bidi yako ya chini zaidi. Kwa mfano TV 16, kisha weka shilingi 20 tu kama idadi yako. Weka bidi yako pia kwenye www.quickbid.co.ke. Kumbuka, bidi ya chini zaidi ya kipekee ndiyo hununua. Quickbid, bidhaa bora kwa bei ya chini.
This is where it all began. As the mother of broadcasting in Kenya, you can trust KBC to bring you authentic news and programs to your living room. As KBC, we take pride in our unrivaled heritage as Kenya's trusted national broadcaster. Commanding over 92% digital television signal coverage of our country, 23 radio services that cut across our entire language spectrum, a national, regional and international digital presence backed by the most experienced and top-notch broadcast professionals in the industry.
Very good evening to you.
The new look Kenya Broadcasting Corporation is truly ahead of the pack. Turn to the mother of broadcasting in Kenya for stories that resonate with our identity, our aspirations as a people united in purpose. Real stories of hard work, of passion, of creativity, of big dreams. Stories that cement our nationhood. Stories that bring us together as one. We take pride in our shared heritage and destiny. KBC, informing, educating and entertaining Kenyans as one nation. KBC, Kenya's listening, Kenya's watching.
Kwa majina yangu naitwa Eriki, ama unaweza niita Mogaka. Mimi ni socha. Kazi yangu ni kuchunga mali ya wenyewe. Hakuna kitu kwa uchungu sana kama mtu kupoteza, especially pesa ameweka kwa nyumba ama ofisini. Na hizo kesi ukuwa ngumu sana kufuatiliwa. Na waomba wenzangu, kama vile mimi ufanya, weka pesa yako kwa panga account juu KDIC imekuhakikishia iko safe. Weka kitu kwa panga.
Be sure, check out for a KDIC sticker in your banking hall. KDIC, protecting your deposits.
Thank you for joining us on the Legends edition this Saturday evening. As I told you last Saturday, we are always full of surprises. And of course, one of our greatest surprises today is right here in the studio. The other one will be with us a little later on this bulletin. My name is Kasavuli, and our sign language interpreter is Brian Abuli. And of course, before we start anything at all, here, making his debut is none other than Topi Liambila, the sports legend. Welcome, Topi.
Thank you very much, Catherine. It's a pleasure and it's good to be back home, where it all began.
No. Well, it is the Olympic season, and of course we've just seen one small hitch take place. There's a lot of heat in Tokyo, and of course talking about the weather, and of course the bout with Nick that went down not too well, but we wake up and dust ourselves off and continue.
Yeah, definitely, of course, because it's a beginning, and always they say it's not very bad, because Kenya, we last won an Olympic gold in 1988 in Seoul Olympics. So this time, there could be something more interesting. So Nick, quite good, was given 2 buys. So more on the sports edition.
Well, that's it this evening. Oh my goodness, it's all hot, 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 hot. And of course, we will be hosting Wilfred Kipkemboi Bungei, 2008 gold Olympic medalist in Beijing, China. He will be taking us through the Olympic fever. And now to the highlights. No need to postpone next year's general election, says Amani National Congress Party leader Musalia Mudavadi.
We've been aware of the drought situation up north, and particularly in the counties of Turkana and Marsabit. Drought alert.
Government warns of dry spell in August and December across the country. The benefits of rehabilitation, transformation of water catchment land at the Masai Mau Forest. Thank you for joining us. My name is Catherine Kasavuli. Thank you so much for joining us on the Legends Edition on KBC Channel 1, the channel that gives you the most comprehensive news coverage. Welcome. Amani National Congress Party leader Musalia Mudavadi maintains there is no need to postpone next year's general election despite the advisory from the African Court on Human and People's Rights. Mudavadi saying that the Constitution is the supreme law of the country, and a treaty or advisory from outside that cannot override the sovereignty of a country.
Amani National Congress Party leader Musalia Mudavadi spent Saturday traversing Nyandarua County, where he said the country is being guided by the Constitution and that any other treaties or external agreements have to be domesticated in the context of the local laws.
The Kenya Constitution comes first, and therefore we have to follow the timetable of the Constitution of Kenya.
So if you're not ready for it, don't look for any excuse. No matter tuko hapa, and we are clear that is a sacrosanct. The constitution of this country is sacred, and it's sacrosanct.
Mudavadi faulted a section of political leaders for claiming the president is too young to leave office.
I don't remember him saying at any one time at all that he intends to extend his term in office. So those are sideshows, people talking on the side.
Mudavadi, who was accompanied by Nyandarua Governor Francis Kimemia, urged the electorate to choose leaders based on their track records and policies and not empty rhetoric.
Either kuongeza ama kufupisha, hii ni vitu ambavyo inafanywa kisiasa bora for the national interest and national security. Hiyo tu ndio vitu mbili ambavyo inaweza kufanya kitu kama uchaguzi uweze kuongeza.
This as Devolution Cabinet Secretary Eugene Wamalwa dismissed the bottom-up economic plan, saying the only way to go is to strengthen devolved units.
There is no greater bottom-up approach kuliko devolution. Tuachilie pesa ije mashinani. Pesa ije huku Gede, watu wa Gede wenyewe wakae, wapange mipango yao from the bottom.
Meanwhile, Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya has said Mount Kenya will not accept to be divided between the East and the West, as it will lack the numbers to bargain at the national level. He said the region might find itself in the opposition if it splits.
Tuwe united, tuwe kitu kimoja, tusigawanywe, tusikubali kugawanywa. Kwa sababu tukigawanywa, nguvu yetu katika serikali ijayo haitakuwako. Kama jimbo au eneo ya mlima tukae pamoja, yule yeyote awe ni Ruto awe ni nani akija, mazungumzo itakuwa ni straight, wekelea hapa, sisi tunataka hii.
Suleiman Yeri, Legends Edition.
The ruling advisory opinion by the African Court on Human and People's Rights that all member states of the African Union can postpone, elections due to the COVID-19 pandemic has been termed as a recipe for civil strife. According to constitutional lawyer Elias Mutuma, the ruling by the African Court will not take precedent as it contradicts our constitution. The court sitting in Arusha, Tanzania, ruled that the COVID-19 restrictions taken to prevent transmission of the deadly virus may affect the integrity of the electoral process. Ben Chumba reports.
With nearly 24 countries having held or planning to hold national elections in 2021, a worrying surge in COVID-19 cases across African countries has prompted the African Court on Human and People's Rights to give its member countries the green light to push forward elections. According to the court, which sits in Arusha, Tanzania, restrictions on rights during the election period, such as the right of movement of candidates and voters to register among others, might affect the integrity of the electoral process. With Kenya set to hold her general elections in August 2022, constitutional lawyer Elias Mutuma says the ruling by the African Court contradicts our constitution.
The Kenyan territory is governed only by the constitution and international law, in as far as they do not in any way contradict our constitution. So international law will not take precedence where it seems to conflict with the Kenyan law.
According to Mutuma, the Kenyan constitution only envisages postponement of an election in rare circumstances and has to be approved by parliament.
COVID-19 is not a state of emergency. It is not a state of war. It cannot be a reason under our laws to postpone the elections. We have seen the United States and many other countries have gone through the elections during this period.
In its advisory, the African Court, however, said when a country decides to postpone the elections, political actors, health authorities and representatives of civil society must be consulted to ensure an inclusive approach to the process.
COVID is here to stay, and the question would be, even if we were to postpone the elections, for how long? When will COVID end? So that now that's the time we go for elections. So I do not think, in my opinion, that we can, buy that advisory opinion and use it as an excuse to postpone our elections.
Daragwa Member of Parliament Jeremiah Kioni is on the ground planning to petition the High Court to defer the 2022 general election to give the Electoral Commission sufficient time to conduct boundary delimitation. Ben Chumba, Legends Edition.
Kenya has recorded 847 new COVID-19 cases from a sample size of 6,080 tested in the last 24 hours. 11 patients have lost the battle, pushing the cumulative fatalities to 3,849. The Ministry of Health says the positive rate is now 13.9%. Of the new cases, 820 are Kenyans, while 27 are foreigners. 485 are male and 362 female. So far, 196,745 cases have been recorded, and cumulative tests are 2,087,582. 722 patients have recovered from the disease, with 567 from the home-based isolation and care program, while 155 are from various health facilities countrywide. Total recoveries now stand at 185,762. Meanwhile, 193,165,622 cases have been reported globally, while 4,143,105 people have died. The government has issued a fresh drought alert between August and December across the country due to harsh weather conditions. This follows an advisory by the National Drought Management Authority, which predicts poor rainfall during the period and recommends swift action to avert a crisis. Devolution Cabinet Secretary Eugene Wamalwa says 10 counties are currently affected and the government is working round the clock to assist vulnerable families.
The government fears the number of counties affected by drought will increase in the coming months. Already 10 counties, namely Garissa, Isiolo, Kilifi, Mandera, Samburu, Tana River, Wajir, Lamu, Marsabit and Turkana are experiencing drought. According to Devolution Cabinet Secretary Eugene Wamalwa, the National Drought Management Authority has new data that indicates that the current drought situation could get worse between August and December.
We've been aware of the drought situation up north, and particularly in the counties of Turkana and Marsabit. Apart from these two counties, we have 8 other counties that are facing and actually experiencing drought.
Wamalwa, who held a consultative meeting with members of parliament from Marsabit and Turkana counties on how to address the current challenges, said construction of 3 mega dams in Turkana, West Pokot and Marsabit were at an advanced stage in a bid to fully address the perennial shortage of water.
NDMA is already engaging, and we are also pushing other partners as we speak to mobilize more resources.
This month, the government released 559 million shillings through the Hunger Safety Network, targeting 100,000 vulnerable families affected by drought.
People are likely to face severe starvation. Support to livestock in terms of sustainment, because there will be no...
Timothy Kipnusu reporting for Legends Edition.
A tremendous transformation is taking place at the Masai Mara forest courtesy of government's efforts to rehabilitate the mega water catchment land. Conservationists in Mara confess that since the reduction of human activities at the forest through eviction of communities in the land in 2018, consistent rainfall patterns have been witnessed. As Purity Museo reports, these efforts have not only provided habitat for animals, but is also helping in mitigating climate change.
The Masai Mara Game Reserve. It's the wildebeest migration season. Tourists are here to witness this annual wildebeest migration from the Serengeti in Tanzania to Masai Mara here in Kenya.
It is important to save your wildlife and to find a way dealing with it. And yes, it is an issue for every country in the world, also for Germany, to deal with this.
In the past 4 years, the government has been working hard to rehabilitate the Masai Mara forest in order to address climate change challenges as well as secure the wild animals' habitat.
Watu wakiona na kila mmoja wetu tunaona ya kwamba watu wakitolewa, watu wakitoka, wengine wametoka na uchungu, lakini nataka nieleze ya kwamba watu wote hiyo haihusu madhara. Ilikuwa madhara kama tungeruhusu watu wamalize hiyo mzito, ingeleta madhara kuliko mambo mengine yote.
According to environmentalists here, the move by the government to evict people from the Mara forest in 2018 has borne fruits.
For the last 4 years or 3 years, from 2018, we've been receiving consistent rains, and that has made the forage to increase and attract more species in the conservancy.
Since people have been started planting trees up on the Mau region, so we just hope that will continue, and then we will have the river and we'll have the flow of the river to the normal rivers.
This is River Mara. 4 years ago, it was almost drying up, affecting the ecosystem.
The river had no water at all. But since the government put initiatives to rehabilitate the Mara River, I mean, last year and now, you can see there's an increased volume of water.
Besides providing habitats for animals and livelihoods for humans, forests also offer watershed protection, prevent soil erosion, and mitigate climate change. Purity Museo, The Legends Edition.
Well, that was Purity Museo. Thank you for that article. Well, we now take a break for now. When we come back, more news from the wildlife.
Ningetaka vile vile kuwaulizeni mkiwa hapo wakulima wote kwamba mufanye jitihadi ya kufunza watoto wetu namna ya ukulima. Manake siku zijazo hakutakuweko na nafasi ya watoto wote ambao wamepitia skuli kupata kazi za ukarani na zinginezo katika miji mikubwa. Hamna nafasi. Na wao, wazazi wao, ni lazima waanze sasa kuwafunza namna ya kutumia jembe.
Kupata skiza tune ya Karau na DJ, bonyeza star 811 star 967 hash.
Raya, hii ni kwa matiche wote. Please, do not confuse the government. Usianza kufinya ile kitu inasema more fire. Ama ile ya the roof is on fire. Ama unaanza kusema we are killing this party. Ama the party is just a bomb. We are having a blast. No. Wewe cheza musiki and just be vigilant. Enjoy. Ama namna kani. Sawa. Over and out.
Bonyeza star 811 star 967 hash. Star 811 star 967 hash.
I heard him say you're supposed to be here.
Yes.
So I went home. I sold everything, and 4 months later I came back.
I got stolen by a woman.
Yes.
I was 5 years. I had to go and take care of a child. I don't know whether even that child was 1 year.
Yes.
I was taking care of that child while the woman is going for a job.
So you were kidnapped?
It wasn't a matter of wanting.
Yes.
For about 3 years I had been asking God, what do you want me to do with the rest of my life?
Yes.
I was 60.
Yes.
She put the head on my lap and told me, God will be always taking care of you.
Welcome back. The government owes families of victims of human-wildlife conflicts at least 12 billion shillings in compensation. Tourism and Wildlife Cabinet Secretary Najib Balala says there has been a compensation backlog over the past 7 years and the government has only paid 2 billion shillings since 2018. Balala called on the Kenya Wildlife Service to prioritize compensation by seeking collaboration with partners to raise the money for victims and their families.
During the launch of the 2019-2024 Kenya Wildlife Service Strategic Plan and the Conservation Agency Human Resource Manual at the Watamu Marine National Park in Kilifi County, Tourism and Wildlife Cabinet Secretary Najib Balala said a compensation backlog of victims of human-wildlife conflict is running into billions of shillings. He, however, noted the issue of compensation was not only just a national agenda but an international one, as human-wildlife conflicts have far-reaching consequences.
Na shida ambayo kubwa sasa tumeiona ni ile baina ya binadamu na wanyama pori, zile shida ambayo ni human-wildlife conflict. Na hiyo lazima iwe ni agenda ya kimataifa, si agenda ya Kenya peke yake, kwa sababu human-wildlife conflict inatuharibia uhusiano baina sisi na jamii.
Balala called on the Kenya Wildlife Service to develop strategies of raising more funds in order to bridge deficits that have been occasioned by the COVID-19 pandemic.
Government cannot fund us in everything, and it's not sustainable at the same time. So we need to be more innovative in how do we raise funds.
KWS Director General Brigadier Retired John Migwi Waweru urged Kenyans to learn to live with the wild animals, saying almost 65% of the animals live outside national parks and reserves.
Asilimia 35 peke yake ndio wako ndani ya parks. Kwa hiyo wanyama wengi zaidi wako kati ya watu, na lazima watu na wao waelewe kuwa hawa wanyama ni wetu.
For Legends Edition, I'm Ben Troinju.
Thank you, Ben Troy. Kilifi County government has cautioned residents who recently received title deeds from selling their land, as it will derail the efforts of resolving the squatter problem, which is rampant in the coast region. Kilifi Governor Amason Kingi says issuance of title deeds is part of the national government's plan to help address poverty by ensuring residents have land ownership documents. More in our County News Roundup.
Speaking in Malindi during the official handing over of 867 title deeds to residents of Muyeye, Komdomo and Kibokoni settlement, the county boss challenged the residents to use the documents to seek loans from financial institutions to uplift their living standards.
Yule mama mboga, yule dereva pikipiki, yule makanga, tumemwezesha vilivyo.
Elsewhere, more than 100 poor children who excelled well in the 2020-2021 Kenya Certificate of Primary Education from Samuru County have joined more than 37,000 others countrywide in the Equity Bank Group's Wings to Fly and Elimu scholarship programs.
I'm 100% confident that all the deserving of cases, particularly orphans and children being brought up by really families that physical challenges, will this year be able to get scholarships.
And Rongo Sub-County has benefited from an ambulance donated by Luala Community Alliance, a charitable organization to boost maternal health care within the region and Migori County as a whole. Meanwhile, parents from Bishi Secondary School in Gatundu North, Kiambu County now want the school's principal transferred over what they claim as mismanagement of school funds and students' poor performance.
Kama miaka kama 6 yenye iliyopita hiyo shule ilikuwa ina perform vizuri sana, lakini saa hii mtoto mwenye amefanya vizuri, amehitimu vizuri ni D+.
In the meantime, Busia County government has launched the construction of a 53 million shilling safe trade zone market funded in partnership with Trade Market East Africa.
It's for this reason, within this very complex time of COVID-19, that the government, through the partnership of development partners, have contributed towards establishing this safe trade market.
Finally, the Association of Skilled Migrants Agencies of Kenya, ASMAC, is calling upon the government through the Immigration Department to enhance their working relationships so as to increase more job opportunities in the Middle East.
Let the government take this seriously, because I cannot build my restaurant and wait for the people to be recruited for 3 months when I'm not getting anything. I want those people as quickly as possible.
Once these bilateral labor agreements are reviewed, migrant workers, our people can get better salaries, better terms of employment.
Yusuf Farah reporting for the Legends edition.
Well, we take a break right now, but when we return, of course, it's the Living Legends edition that will be taking center stage. We will be talking to Wilfred Kipkemboi Bungei, 2008 gold medalist at Beijing Olympics.
Nissan Serena ndio hii, na unaweza kuwa wewe ndio tunapikia simu. Kodi ya Nissan Serena ni NS, alafu kisha kwenye amount ni 50 bob. Hii Nissan Serena tunakupatia na shilingi 50.
Kujiunga na QuickBid ni rahisi. Enda kwenye M-Pesa, bonyeza paybill, kisha weka business number 4032353. Kwenye account weka kodi ya bidhaa unayotaka na bid yako ya chini zaidi, kwa mfano TV 16, kisha weka shilingi 20 tu kama idadi yako. Weka bid yako pia kwenye www.quickbid.co.ke. Kumbuka, bid ya chini zaidi ya kipekee ndio hununua. QuickBid, bidhaa bora kwa bei ya chini.
This is where it all began. As the mother of broadcasting in Kenya, you can trust KBC to bring you authentic news and programs to your living room. Action. As KBC, we take pride in our unrivaled heritage as Kenya's trusted national broadcaster. Commanding over 92% digital television signal coverage of our country, 23 radio services that cut across our entire language spectrum, a national, regional and international digital presence backed by the most experienced and top-notch broadcast professionals in the industry.
A very good evening to you.
The new look Kenya Broadcasting Corporation is truly ahead of the pack. Turn to the mother of broadcasting in Kenya for stories that resonate with our identity, our aspirations as a people united in purpose. Real stories of hard work, of passion, of creativity, of big dreams. Stories that cement our nationhood. Stories that bring us together as one. We take pride in our shared heritage and destiny. KBC, informing, educating and entertaining Kenyans as one nation. KBC, Kenya's listening, Kenya's watching.
Thank you for joining us on the Living Legends segment. Today we are looking at the Olympics and of course who else to walk us through this wonderful journey. One of our own sons who has graced our screens not just in Kenya but in various places of the world, bringing us nothing but accolades, gold, silver and bronze. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome none other than Wilfred Kipkemboi Bungei, 2008 Olympics gold medalist in Beijing, China. Welcome, Wilfred.
Thank you so much, Catherine. I'm happy to be here.
It's nice to have you. Whoa, whoa, whoa. We can't even just get over how you brought such wonderful excitement into the country. 2008, that was a very, very sensitive time. But you went to the Olympics and of course you brought the whole country together. You were the captain. Tell us about the 2008 gold medal.
Well, I think for 2008, Catherine, I can tell you it's very emotional for me, not because I became an Olympic champion, but being the team captain. It reminds me that as soon as I won the games, every press conference that I went there was not about how did I win gold after so many years of trying, but it was how were we able to get more medals, because it was the biggest haul of medals before the Rio Olympics, that we had 6 gold medals, 4 silver medals, 4 silver, and therefore it was more, and everybody was like, what exactly happened, how were you able to brought up? And that's why I said, and I've always said that, the 2008 Olympic Games was very unique. This is one event that we had so many athletes then coming from different communities, and what I told people is that when you look at these athletes, when they were performing, when they were winning games, and there were national anthem being sung there, the whole country was standing for that. When I won, all over, everybody in Kenya stood, not because I came from Kalenjin land. When Wanjiru, for example, the late Wanjiru, my friend, won, everybody stood here. So it is one unique games that brought this country together, and that is why for me as a team captain it means a lot.
And that's what we needed at that time. That was just soon after the 2007 2008 election violence, and we just want to say thank you so much for bringing us together. Thank you so much for that cohesion, because the whole country just ground to a halt and we were all just gunning for gold, and you were bringing them hot and fast from the oven. That was just delicious.
Absolutely.
We just want to ask about the captainship, captaining a team such as that. It was one of the biggest teams we sent to the Olympics. Mm-hmm. What challenges did you face?
I can tell you, Catherine, and our viewers, that being a team captain is not easy, because remember that you must, first and foremost, you are participating. You are not an official. You have a lot of focus in terms of the event that you are going to participate, but at the same time you have got to bring the whole athletes together. Remember that Olympics is the only event that brings volleyball, different fields meeting together, compared, for example, to World Championships in athletics, whereby it's only athletes and most of the time they know each other. So being a team captain, you have got to bring a kind of cohesion among every sportsman and women, between the athletes themselves, the officials, the physiotherapists, and the government. And I can tell you that, for me, it was a little bit of a challenge. We had issues here and there, but at the end of the day, I stood my ground. I remember at a certain point, we had small argument, and I was almost resigning as a team captain, but at the end of the day, they were able to agree on what we wanted, and then that is why we got the performance that we got then.
Oh, thank you for your resilience. And thank you for your consistency. You are very, very consistent. Mm-hmm. Tell us about Moscow.
Well, Moscow World Indoor Championships, I can tell you it came at the time that many people had dismissed me, just the same as Beijing, Catherine. I can tell you that, when you are an athlete and you have been consistent for so many years, and probably you have not been able to win any medal, people always dismiss you. I can tell you in Beijing, for example, some of the commentators were saying that it is anybody's race but Wilfred Bungei. The reason why is because I went to Athens Olympics being a favorite. I was never beaten in any race, and people thought that I was going to win, but I finished a disappointing 5th. When I was going to Beijing, I remember that I ran the poorest time of my career, running 1:49, something that I didn't manage, and therefore I was starting there as an underdog. Number 2, there was less pressure on myself, mm-hmm. and that is something that brought it gave me a lot of confidence, because I was coming below the radar. Nobody knew what I was doing. Nobody didn't know what kind of training I had done, and at least I was able to. Same thing with Moscow, as you asked, that when I reached Moscow, I remember that I got a very bad cold, because then we arrived at negative 42 degrees. Starting from here in Kenya, and then you go there, it was so tough, and I remember I was almost cancelling the race. And my agent says, Wilfred, you know what? It's just a step at a time. So I ran the rounds, I was able to proceed, and then he said, well, you're still sick, but at the end of the day, you can still do something. We went to the semi-finals. Again, I qualified. And when I was in the finals, he told me, you have nothing to lose. So just run your race. Surprisingly, I won gold.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now tell us about the indoor Olympics. You know, a lot of Kenyans do not participate in indoor Olympics. Is it because it's claustrophobic or whatever? Because of course we have a lot of land. People just, you know, do cross country. What's the challenge there?
Well, I think first and foremost, Winter Games is purely on snow. And you can imagine that, you know, most African countries, you know, they have not been in any of those games. And therefore, they have a challenge. I believe that the day that we will have, during the Winter Games, for example, we have the things like the World Indoor Championships, because we have, like what I won in Moscow, for example, was a World Indoor Championships, but not the Olympics. And therefore, the moment we have the Winter Olympics, incorporating athletics as well, and these other events that we can be able to do well, then I believe that as Kenyans, we will have a chance to be, you know, in exception of Philip Poit, you know, who was a skier. We have not had anyone else. I believe, you know, I mean, something that I'm happy, Catherine, is that we have in some of the hotels, I think Panari, we have the skiing.
Yes, the
and
ice
therefore,
rink,
the ice rink,
Yes.
So I am always hopeful. You know, I'm one person that I advocate for different games, because we have got to give our chance to our kids, not only looking at athletics and soccer and volleyball, but also other games that they can be able to do. So I think that the fact that we have what we have in Panari, I believe that in the future, you know, we may be able to get some of our sportsmen and women participating in this kind of games.
Edmonton,
Canada.
Yes.
I was still young. I remember that, you know, it was more of traveling then, because I think I had just graduated as a junior, because when I was a junior, I managed to win the silver medal in 1998. So I went to Canada. Actually, as much as, of course, you know, I was a very focused athlete throughout my career, but I remember that then when I ran the rounds, I was able to win my round. I went to the semis. I was able to do that. Then there is something that used to happen. The national coaches had to make decisions, because it is all about sacrificing. One thing that I want to inform our viewers always is that when it comes to championships, it's not about individual. It's all for the country. Most of the time, unfortunately, in this country, we have allowed agents to come between our athletes, whereby they come there and they tell the athletes, you are the one to win. Another agent, because we are being managed by different agents as Kenyans, another agent will say it is you to win. So the teamwork always gets affected. And therefore, what I would like to see moving forward is our Kenyan athletes thinking more about their country, thinking more about the national anthem, because it means a lot for Kenyans, it means a lot for the world, it means also a lot for even the same athletes, because many times you would realize that most agents now will come here, because we have got, all you accounted for is championships, not how many diamond leagues you win as a Kenyans. I can tell you that, for example, there was a time steeplechase was reduced in Diamond League. 5,000, 10,000 meters. You would find in the whole circuit of how many? 16 races. There is only 10,000.
Wow.
So it means, you know, that time that we have got to think and put country first, because the more we perform, the better for us.
Tell us about the 4x800 meters. You know, did you sit down and discuss, you know, how you were going to start and how you were going to finish, who was going to take on more energy, you know, in passing the baton?
Wow. Talking about the 4x800, which is still a standing record to now.
Yes.
That was between Wilfred Bungei, William Yampoi, Joseph Mutua, and Ismail Kompich. You know, that is one event that, of course, we planned. Remember that it had stood for almost 23 years since SEPCO and the team, the Great Britain. So it was more like, what can you be able to do? Because remember that relays is about being able to get the splits correctly.
Yes.
And again, this is an event that you are running as an individual. When you are running 800 meters, sometimes, you know, you have a pacemaker, but this is more of an individual event. So we had planned that at least I was going to anchor it. The reason why, because it had to be very fast. But though, William Nyampoi had the fastest time during that the laps. And one thing that I was so happy for is at least we were able to break one of the oldest records that had stood for a very long time. And it's still, the beauty of it is it still stands until now.
That's wonderful. Congratulations. Thank you for such great records you've brought to the nation.
Thank you.
We always feel so honored when the national anthem is played. And of course, the wordings are just so wonderful. In the Rio Olympics, in fact, it was rated the best national anthem in the world. And I just said, my goodness, this is so wonderful. The sound is just good, the symphony, and of course the wordings, because we could see you singing,
Absolutely, yeah.
You see you belting out the tune. Now tell us about the Tokyo Olympics. It's a very different time, it's a very different season, and of course, they're coming under quite interesting circumstances, the COVID-19, Can you just tell us what are they going through right now, according to yourself?
Well, I think for sure, the Tokyo Olympics, first and foremost, has been postponed.
Yeah.
That is the one challenge that is there. And I know what the athletes are undergoing or could have gone through for the last 1 year. Yes. Remember that, before you prepare for an Olympic Games, it takes a lot of mental preparation. The reason why I say that is because this is an event that happens every 4 years.
Yes.
But now, this one, we are doing it in the 5th year. So one thing, there is a lot of challenges. But one thing that we do not forget is that every sportsman and woman around the world got the same effects. Yes. So in terms of the challenges that are there, every athlete is facing.
Yes.
However, our Kenyan athletes, we are used to not put in a bubble the way we had to do this time around, where these athletes were not allowed to go out once they were in the camp. It does affect, because I know during my time, we would go to Karura Forest to go for training. We would go to Ngong, go for training and do every other stuff. But in this case, these guys, they have been put in a bubble, and therefore it's a little bit of a challenge, especially for our Kenyan athletes. But one thing that I know, they are very ready. I watched the trials, and I see that, when you look at the times that they were able to run, it tells you that, we have a bigger chance of even maybe getting more medals than Rio, for example. One thing, and one of the reasons why, is whenever we have games in Asia, we have always proof that we are doing very well. I've never understood why, but many times whenever we send a team Kenya to Asia, they will always perform. Watch even rugby, whenever they go to Asian countries, they will always perform compared to Europe and the US.
Well, the Tokyo Olympics, of course, is very, very different, and we thank you that you have helped us walk through the processes that the Olympiads, go through. Now, I just want you to look at the camera behind me and just wish our Olympiads all the best. Give them a message.
Thank you. For Team Kenya 2020 Olympics, mine is to just wish you all the very best. Remember that the country is watching you, they are praying for you, and they are waiting for you to bring glory to this nation. All the best.
That's wonderful. That is wonderful. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, you heard it from none other than Wilfred Kipkemboi Bungei, 2008 gold medalist in Beijing, China. He has been our living sports legend on the Legends Edition tonight. My name is Catherine Kasavuli. Thank you. We love you so much. And of course, we are looking forward to next week. So tell us, who would you want to be featured on The Living Legend? Good night.
Kwa majina yangu naitwa Eriki, ama unaweza niita Mogaka. Mimi ni socha. Kazi yangu ni kuchunga mali ya wenyewe. Hakuna kitu uko uchungu sana kama mtu kupoteza, especially pesa ameweka kwa nyumba ama ofisini. Na hizo kesi ukuwa ngumu sana kufuatiliwa. Na waomba wenzangu, kama vile mimi ufanya. Weka pesa yako kwa panga account juu KDIC imekuhakikishia iko safe. Weka kitu kwa panga.
Be sure, check out for a KDIC sticker in your banking hall. KDIC, protecting your deposits.
Unafanya nini hapa? Nakuuliza unafanya nini hapa?
Mimi ndio unauliza nafanya nini hapa?
Mara ya 3 nakuuliza unafanya nini nyumbani kwangu?
Yusuf amefukuzwa kwao.
Mulizalishwa kule na mtoto gavana kule.
Kabisa.
Alafu tena unataka kurudi tena huko.
Mimi nikamsamee.
Good evening and welcome to the sports segment of the Legends edition here on KBC Channel 1. And now on sports, the Kenya's Nick Okoth today lost his bout in the 52-57 kilograms category, going down by 3-2 on points to Erdenbert Sendebatar of Mongolia. Boxer Okoth was the first Kenyan to compete at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics and got the favor of 2 of the 5 judges on the bench.
Game display hii hapo pia imekuwa yani muonyesha sisi Kenya kuna mahali tunaenda na tunaelekea na hiyo boxing na kuna medal itapatikana.
Lazima inatuvunja moyo kidogo, lakini lazima tuendelee, manake kuna wachezaji wengine ambao bado wako kwenye mashindano na lazima tuende tuwatayarishe vilivyo na tuwapatie moral, hata kama mwenzao ambaye ndio kapteni amepoteza, tuonyeshe kwamba bado nia yetu bado ni ile ile, kuwakilisha nchi yetu kwa njia inayofaa.
Will begin their Olympic medal hunt tomorrow against host Japan. Head coach Paul Bitok believes that the use of statistics for the first time by the Kenyans could be an added advantage as the team makes a return to the Olympic Games after 17 years. Bitok also was happy that the preparation had gone well for the team that has been training in Japan for 15 days. Malkia strikers left the country earlier this month and headed to Kurume, where they trained under a team of Kenyan and Brazilian coaches before finally landing in Tokyo. After their match against Japan tomorrow, Kenya will face South Korea on Tuesday, then play Serbia, Dominican Republic and Brazil.
We are very proud of our heritage, that when we dress up according to our heritage, that we have a sprint in our legs and feet, and that the rest of the world needs to see that sprint. And so we came out with confidence, happy, and it showed, and I think that everybody looked wonderful. The ladies looked amazing. The men looked, really, very, very, very good.
Hopefully, Malkia strikers will give us a reason to smile in tomorrow's game. The National Paralympics team that will represent Kenya in this year's Games has intensified training at the Kasarani Stadium in Nairobi. The team, which consists of 13 players under the tutelage of Henry Kiprono, will go seeking to clinch more gold medals when the Games begin starting 24th of next month to the 5th of September.
The Kenyan school to this year's Paralympic Games features 13 athletes, including 4 debutants, namely Captain Rogers Kiprop, Nancy Chelagat, Felix Kipruto, John Lukedi, and Mary Waithera. Kiprop and Waithera will be featuring in the T11 category, while Lukedi will feature in the 1500 meters and 5000 meters T13 categories.
Tumejiandaa kabisa kuwakilisha nchi yetu kwa event ambazo ziko mbele yetu Tokyo, na kabisa tutafanya vizuri.
Tunatazamia kwenda mahali pale na kuleta nishani. So mimi nakimbia mbio ya 5000 meters na 1500 meters na nimejiandaa vizuri. Wenzangu pia ambao tuko na watu tumejiandaa wote vyema na tunatazamia kuleta ushindi.
So hizi tumetrain kabisa, hata mimi nimejiandaa kabisa. Nikienda huko nitaenda kukimbia vizuri. Tunashukuru serikali kwa sababu wametusupport sisi tuende kama mapema.
Timu tumejiandaa vizuri na tunashukuru kwa serikali kwa support ambaye wametupatia. Tumepiga kambi, tuko karibu mwezi mmoja sasa kwa kambi na tumejipanga vizuri na naona tuko na matumaini na tunatarajia tusoe mametali katika nchi yetu ya Kenya.
This year's games will be held between 24th August to 5th September in Tokyo, Japan. Reporting for Legends Edition, my name is Frederick Mwoki.
Best of luck to the Paralympians. Matters hockey. The Kenya Hockey Union President Nahashan Randiek has pledged with the government to help facilitate hockey teams that will represent Kenya in the Africa Club Championship this September in Malawi. Randiek shared these sentiments during a launch of the fundraising lottery for Wazalendo hockey team that is set to feature in the championship this year.
Thanking all of you for making time in a highly anticipated in this country is that the ministry never supports clubs. They support national teams. I don't know how we are going to come out of that policy. It's like a silent policy. It's written nowhere, but it's like I've only seen the ministry support football clubs, but not other disciplines. So it is something they should reconsider.
This collection has not been easy. As at the ball is not bouncing, and you pass the ball through hand to hand. When you score from the center line, that is like 3 marks. And when you score near the goal post, it's like 1 mark. And when you score from the penalty line, it's like 2 marks.
Back to the international scene, athletes at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics have complained about exhausting conditions given the high temperatures and humidity, with several tennis players asking for matches to be moved to the start later in the day. Despite the heat, China won their first gold medal of the Games, and host Japan also claimed their first gold on the sweltering heat in the day in Tokyo.
Athletes have complained about exhausting conditions given the combination of high temperatures and humidity at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. China's traditional early dominance of the medal table endured, with Yang Qian winning the first available gold in the women's 10-meter air rifle final. Shortly afterwards, Hu Zihui celebrated victory in the women's 49 kilograms weightlifting with a combined score of 210, breaking the Olympic record. Elsewhere, a nurse from Iran became the Olympic champion in the men's 10-meter air pistol competition. World number 1 Novak Djokovic made a good start as he continues his bid for the Golden Slam, but became the second player to question the scheduling of matches after Russian Daniil Medvedev suggested a later start time would make conditions more bearable. More than 8 gold medals have already been won in those conditions after the first day of the Games in Tokyo.
And that is all we had for you for sports in the sports segment of the Legends edition. But remember to be with us next Saturday for another great bumper crop of harvest in the sports on the Legends edition. Catherine.
Well, thank you, Topi. That was a wonderful debut, and welcome back home. Welcome back home. This is where you started.
Oh, yeah, it all started here, didn't it?
Yes,
and
I
it's
also
very interesting.
started
And you also started here.
And we are back.
And we shall have another day, of course, to talk about how I actually entered broadcasting. You know, it was courtesy of you. I don't know if you can remember.
Yes.
Now Bungei, a great guy.
Oh, wonderful fellow. I just enjoyed that engagement with him on the Legends, Living Legends. He's an amazing gentleman, you know.
Very interesting. He was running, and of course with his glasses still. He had his textbook glasses on his head. Very interesting guy, and you know, yes. He was a very versatile captain in 2008. And in spite of we won so many gold medals, remember?
I know.
In 2008, and I think he's also very positive.
Yes.
But I wonder how many of the living legends are out there. I believe there must be very many.
Oh, I think we need to go and get them onto the show.
Yeah,
Living Legends.
Oh, it'll be
so
beautiful.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's all we have time for this evening. Our sign language interpreter has been Brian Abuli, and my name is Catherine Kasavuli, and of course he has been debuting today. He is Topi Liambila, so we welcome him onto the show. Do have a wonderful evening. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and God bless.
My pleasure.
This is where it all began. As the mother of broadcasting in Kenya, you can trust KBC to bring you authentic news and programs to your living room. As KBC, we take pride in our unrivaled heritage as Kenya's trusted national broadcaster. Commanding over 92% digital television signal coverage of our country, 23 radio services that cut across our entire language spectrum, a national, regional